Hi there, my name is Kevin Austin and I'm the Technical Director at Access Financial Group. Today I'd like to talk about how one can start their work in the Netherlands as a self-employed individual, or as it's commonly said nowadays, a freelancer. In the Netherlands, it's relatively easy to become a freelancer, essentially the simplest way to start your own business. It's known as a ZZP'er, a Zelfstandiger zonder personeel, which translates directly to an independent without staff. ZZP'ers are not committed to any single long-term client or employer. The most common business structure for a freelancer's enterprise in the Netherlands is an eenmanszaak, a one-person business. There are several benefits to becoming a freelancer. For example, you can choose your projects and collaborators and set your hours. As an employee, you typically don't have that freedom. In addition, there are various options for reducing taxes, which include the 30% ruling, which we'll discuss in more detail a bit later, the ondernemersvertrek, which is the entrepreneur's deduction of business expenses and work-related costs, VAT, BTW deductions, and so on. The new tax regime only applies to employed people. However, there are some downsides to freelancing. For example, you won't get bonuses, sick leave, or vacation days, and you'll have to arrange your own pension. As a ZZP'er, you'll also be responsible for calculating and filing your taxes, including income taxes, VAT, and social security contributions. That is why a good accountant is essential. Here are some of the most important aspects to consider if you're thinking about becoming a ZZP'er in the Netherlands. To start the process, you must first ensure that you have a valid residence permit, which allows you to live and work in the Netherlands. There are several ways to obtain a Dutch residence permit, such as the Dutch-American Friendship Treaty, the Dutch-Japanese Trade Treaty, the DIT, being an EU or Swiss citizen, the Dutch Startup Visa. The Dutch-American Friendship Treaty, the DAFT, and Dutch-Japanese Trade Treaty, the DIT, are treaties that allow citizens of the United States, America, and Japan to establish and manage businesses in the Netherlands without having to meet the same strict criteria as other applicants. However, they still need to demonstrate that they have the necessary skills and experience to run a successful business and that their business will benefit the Dutch economy. If you are a non-EU, EEA, or Swiss citizen, wishing to work in the Netherlands on a self-employed basis, you must obtain permission to establish your business there. Additionally, your business should contribute significantly to Dutch interests. The Immigration and Naturalization Service, IND, of the Netherlands is in charge of evaluating residence permit applications and other immigration matters. This evaluation employs a scoring system that considers personal experience, the applicant's relevant skills and experience in their proposed business area, the practicality and sustainability of the applicant's business plan, value to the Netherlands, the potential positive impact of the applicant's business on the Dutch economy. For more details on the process and a list of documents required for obtaining a residence permit, follow the link in the description of this video. The first administrative step to becoming a freelancer is to register your new business at the Dutch Chamber of Commerce, the Kamer van Koophandel, or KVK. In the description of the video, we'll add all the necessary links to official resources so that you don't have to search for them yourself. However, you will need to attend an in-person meeting to finalise the registration process. The cost of registration is €80.10. Being a freelancer or ZZP'er has no specific legal form, so you'll need to choose a legal form for your business. The kind that you choose depends on your juridical and financial preferences. Freelancers with a high turnover and investors may opt for a BV, a limited company. Freelancers who work together might choose a VOF, a general partnership. And then there's the eenmanszaak, which is the sole trader or a one-person business, the most common legal structure used by freelancers in the Netherlands. While registering with the KVK, you should also ask to be registered with the Belastingdienst, the Dutch tax office, which will issue you with a BTW number, the VAT number. There are some instances where you'll also need a license or to adhere to particular laws and regulations governing specific industries. For example, if you deal with imports and exports or you work in hospitality, say a cafe, hotel, or a restaurant. In addition to registration at the KVK, you must have a valid business address in the Netherlands. This can be your home address or a rented office space. Dutch taxes and VAT for freelancers. Nearly all freelancers and self-employed professionals have to pay VAT and income tax. Depending on the legal structure that you choose, you pay income tax or vennootschapsbelasting, corporate income tax, and in the case of a BV, wages tax. If your turnover stays below a certain threshold, 20,000 euros per year, you may apply for the small business tax scheme, the Klein Ondernemersregeling or KOR, and not have to file VAT returns. If you have an Eenmanszaak, a sole proprietorship, or a VOF, a general partnership, you file a personal income tax return. If, on the other hand, you have a BV, a private limited company, you file a corporate tax and wage return. The wage tax number is obtained by registering with the Dutch tax authority. What you need to know about social insurance contributions. As a freelancer in the Netherlands, you can take out insurance for many types of risks. Most insurances are voluntary. There are, however, two types of insurances that you are obliged to have. Freelancers in the Netherlands pay national insurance contributions through their income tax. Everyone living or working in the Netherlands is legally obliged to take out standard healthcare insurance. This also applies to freelancers. Other types of insurance are voluntary. For more detailed information about the rates of income tax, corporate tax, and social assurance, you can follow the link in the video description. I often receive questions from recruiting agencies, contractors and so on about the application of the 30% ruling in the Netherlands. So I'd like to go into a bit more detail on this matter. The 30% ruling is for employees. If you're a sole trader or in an unincorporated business, you cannot claim it. However, there is an option. If you set your business up as a separate legal entity, such as a limited company, BV, you can go on the payroll as an employee of your own company. To apply for the 30% ruling, the following steps must be taken. Contact the Dutch tax authorities, the Belastingdienst. The Belastingdienst will provide you with an application form and instructions on completing it. Submit the application form along with supporting documentation. Supporting documentation may include your employment contract, salary certificate, and proof of address. The tax authority will review your application and notify you of their decision. Does a ZZP'er need a model agreement? Clients and contractors can use a model agreement to make sure their business relationship is not seen as false self-employment. Freelancers and their clients can choose to work according to different kinds of standard model agreements, templates that have been drawn up by the Dutch tax authorities. With the model agreements, the Dutch tax administration wants to determine the difference between employment or an assignment. If you work with a model agreement approved by the tax administration, it's clear that the work is considered an assignment and that the client is not responsible for payroll taxes and contributions. The work must be carried out in accordance with the model agreement. If you do not want to use one of these model agreements, you and your client can always draw one up yourselves and have it assessed by the Dutch tax authorities. While it's not compulsory to use a model agreement for ZZP'ers in the Netherlands, we strongly advise that you do so for several reasons. Clarity and protection. Model agreements provide clear and concise guidelines for the working relationship between a ZZP'er and the client. They outline the scope of work, payment terms, intellectual property rights, liability and termination procedures, ensuring both parties understand their responsibilities and expectations, avoiding disputes. Using a model agreement, ZZP'ers and clients can minimize the risk of disputes arising from misunderstandings or unclear expectations. The agreement serves as a reference point for resolving any issues arising during the project. Tax compliance. Model agreements are from the Dutch tax authorities, the Belastingdienst. They're there to meet the requirements of the Dutch tax code and ensure that the working relationship is a services agreement rather than an employment contract, which can save ZZP'ers from paying unnecessary employers' social security contributions. Overall, the Netherlands is a very supportive environment for freelancers. There are a number of benefits available to self-employed workers, and there are also a number of resources available to help them start and grow their businesses. We at Access Financial provide a full set of services in the Netherlands, allowing corporate clients, recruitment agencies, and professional contractors to operate in an optimal manner while ensuring that all local employment obligations are taken care of. In the video description, you'll find our contacts and you can schedule a free consultation with our experts. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like our video, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Thank you.